everyone. As you all know, my name is Irene Weinberg, and I'm your host of Grief and Rebirth podcast. And today, I have the high honor of beginning our Rebirth series with an absolutely wonderful, beautiful person from the United Kingdom named Dajana Paliokaite. And she has quite a story to share with us. We are beginning to do this series because I've introduced you to so many professionals and wonderful people who can help you out of your swamp of grief. But how about people who have already done it and are actively enjoying the rebirth experience in their own lives? So, without further ado, this is welcome, Dajana, and I would want to ask you, please tell us your story. I know you have a beautiful 2-year-old little guy and named Luciano, and your husband sadly died. You want to tell us what your life was like before that happened and what happened?
Thank you, Irene. First of all, I really want to thank you for having me here. I've been really a big fan of your podcast. They inspired me truly to actually be here today sharing my experience, because actually your podcast likewise helped me. Because I was kind of in a place, kind of grasping anything out there possibly to give me that hope, to give me the belief, and your podcast contributed to my journey. So that's the reason I'm here. It actually all started 16 years ago when I came to UK. I was not able to speak English really well.
You came from Lithuania, right?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. And I studied. I did all the things I kind of tried to do for my future. I studied. I worked part-time in the bar and even worked in McDonald's and so on. And I've met my husband, my late husband, whilst I was studying and working at the bar. I met him at the bar, and he was a banker at that time. This was 13 years ago. And from there, that day, the first day that we met, we've been always together. So we've been together for 7 years and married for 5 years, so 12 years together. He was an amazing man, and he was Canadian. He came to UK himself 18 years ago, just slightly earlier than me. And we married. He proposed me in Italy. We married, and then a few years later, we had Luciano. So just before giving birth to Luciano, perhaps a week before, he was not feeling well, and I managed to send him to doctors. He was not going to doctors at all. That's one of the things that probably men do. They never go to doctors.
They're very stubborn. They can be very stubborn.
And he was the kind of, I used to call him Superman. He never had a doctor or dentist. He never needed any of those through entire life. So it probably strange for him to have some pains that, he expected them to go away. He finally went to doctor, and we found out that he had a cancer, stage 4 bowel cancer.
Oh my God.
And at that time, he was 39 years old, and it was a week before Luciano's birth as well. So everything just was the most probably painful experience in my entire life.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because I didn't have a really good birth as well. So Luciano was born with infection. He had to remain in intensive care unit for 3 weeks. And at the same time, his dad, Trevor, his name, he spent in hospital having bowel surgery for 1 month.
Did you have support? Let me just ask you, did you have support during this time?
I had
was
my
anyone
mom
around you? This was so hard, what you were going through. Was anyone there to help you and love you and support you through this?
So I was really lucky to have my late husband's mom, who arrived from Canada to spend time with us, as well as my mom. So they were both supporting and spending time. But obviously, I was going from one hospital to another for all entire months. As a dream, you have a dream of coming back to giving birth, coming back home with the baby and your husband, and that first night. But it didn't happen for almost a month for me. And obviously, I was worried for both of them, and it was extremely hard time. Then we are really optimistic people. We kind of positive, we just go live our life to the fullest. So I was on maternity leave for that 1 year, and my late husband was on a sickness leave for entire year as well. So we enjoyed every moment together, 24/7 with Luciano. Three of us, we managed to fit in 4 or 5 holidays abroad. We saw friends, and we really enjoyed the life. In between, he was having chemos, as you can imagine, hospital appointments. And as the year progressed, things were going not well. His health was deteriorating. He was not feeling well and losing a lot of weight. And, it was extremely horrible to see a really fit person who's just 2 years ago has done 360 kilometers race with a bike in Mallorca in Spain, and then unable to properly walk. It was extremely hard. So together, looking after the baby and living, trying to do the best as mom, I think I was kind of in a state where I was almost hyper and shocked, and together at the same, trying to hold it all together. And it felt like a normal state. It only afterwards felt like I crashed, because you keep on going, and this adrenaline.
I so understand that. Yeah, you're holding it all together, and then all of a sudden, boom, it all hits you.
And so my late husband's mom has remained in all the time until he passed away. So he perhaps just a week before he passed away, we kind of first time had a chat about death. Actually, he said, if I'm not able to meet the test of these blood results, there will be nothing else that can be done to me. And that's all he said. I've never even thought about afterlife, or afterlife exists or not. I was neither believer or not believer. I was just not ever thinking about it. I just never liked thinking about death. I just felt like I will think when it approaches me. But I did not expect my late husband to be actually dying before me and going through that. It was the most hard. It's just absolutely horrid experience. So my late husband then passed away on the 7th of February, actually.
Was he in your home? Did he pass away in your home or in the hospital?
No, he passed away in my home, in our home we shared, and I thought I'll quit the job, I'll look after him. He actually was able to walk all the time until probably 2 or 3 days before passing. He was not able to walk, and he was not able to think clearly, but he was just always holding on to that last moment. And I just felt like there's that hope, when the hope dies last, when they say, no, there was nothing, in logical mind, there was nothing you could possibly do to save his life, but I still hoped for a miracle. I don't know what I was expecting, but
that's so normal, though. I think that's so normal. Did you have hospice or people around you, like medical people around you, or you were totally with your mother-in-law on your own, taking care of him through this?
So it's just so he passed away on 7th of February, which was Friday last year. So on Thursday, we only got the hospital bed, and only started getting some hospice help. But everything just happened so quickly, from him walking, talking and having dinner with us, to absolutely unable to move and not really functioning in his brain well, and he's not understanding things. It was just really quick. And, Irene, it was really weird, because when they say there is a reason why you do not see your loved one's last breath, they always almost ensure you're not there. But I was grateful that his mom was there when he died that moment, because I was upstairs with my son, trying to make him fall asleep, and it was the first night when he wasn't falling asleep. It was 11 p.m. and he was still not falling asleep. And it was strange, because I was like, what? I understand my obviously distress. He probably was feeling it, so he wasn't sleeping. And then I could suddenly heard my mother-in-law screaming his name, and I then start going downstairs, and then I realized that that's when he passed away. I tried to resuscitate him, and I called the ambulance, and obviously nothing was, we were not able to help him. But I'll get to this moment right now, because I never really thought about afterlife, or I had never had a connection, or I've never thought I would be the person who sees, knows, or feels. But perhaps 10 minutes after he passed away, and ambulance people who've done a great job changed him and cleaned him, I sat next to him and I looked at my mom, who also arrived very quickly from home. I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, he's here. He's not dead. I said, Mom, he's here. And my mom obviously, I understand, I understand how you're feeling. It's probably, all these feelings flowing and you hoping he's still not dead. But I'm like, no, what I mean is just he's somewhere here, just beside me. And this is just his body. It's almost like a meat suit that I'm pulling.
Got it. You like got it. You got it in that moment. You just knew.
I was like, oh my God, this is like, he's not going anywhere. But that moment, obviously, I kept on it, but it's gone. So I was obviously extremely devastated. The next 3 weeks were obviously extremely painful. And my mother-in-law was still staying with me. And, we were seeing friends just before lockdown, actually, just before complete lockdown. So I was able to see friends and just not to be alone. And then one evening, I was completely alone. Now everyone left. Now we approached the lockdown in March. I was laying and he used to call me Bean, like a green bean. I never had a name. He was never calling me any name. He was just calling me Bean. So I was sleeping in bed, and I'm always a good sleeper. Actually, all through this time, I slept well. I don't know how I managed that. I just would switch off.
That is a blessing. That is a blessing.
Yeah. I was so absolutely tired, and I would wake up and see my son and go on with the day. So I'm grateful for that. But I get up very quickly. Or if anything, if I hear sound, strange sound that I'm not used to hearing on a daily basis, I would wake up very quickly. So I was laying, it was 3 a.m. and I heard in my left ear, and I know it's not, I was telling to so many people, it's not my imagination. It's not because I'm going through grief or I'm hoping. I am extremely sane person, very logical as well. And I would just think that is crazy, but it's not. I heard him say, Bean, loud and clear outside my ear at 3 a.m. in the morning. I jumped. I opened my eyes because it woke me up. It was so loud. It woke me up. And I was like, oh my God, you are here. I was like, next morning I woke up. I booked a trip to Medium straight away. A week later, I was sitting with the medium and I was listening to him.
So this was a medium. Who was this medium? There are many in England, I know.
Yeah.
You just went into a phone book and like, I have to find someone?
I just Googled and I felt a good vibe about him and I just contacted him. And I went to his home. I knew that perhaps Trevor wants to communicate with me. I just felt like, you know what, I can't just ignore this. There must be something. I'm not going crazy. I know it was his even voice and he called me Bean. And I can't ignore it. So obviously I went and saw him and he was quite accurate, but it didn't, like, as I would say, it didn't blow my mind. It didn't be like, I was a bit skeptical, Irene. I was like, I can see what you mean here. Yeah, but you can say that to pretty much anyone. He didn't give me anything to like that I would be like, wow.
Right.
No,
you were looking for that meaty proof. You were looking for that
proof. But that just opened up the floodgate of my entire journey, which why I'm here now, sitting here and smiling and being absolutely grateful for the life I have, for the opportunity I have, and for all these things that I've received post his death, that I'm so grateful. And he's continuing post-death, inspiring me to continue looking after me and making me grow as he was when we were together. He was, he was always teaching me, showing me the world. And I think he's still doing that. And it's, I'm astonished with that. So anyway, after I've seen the guy, medium, I forgot his name. I'm really sorry. And
that's okay. I was just curious.
I'll send you, I'll let you know definitely the name.
No, and if you would like a medium, the names of mediums in the UK, there are quite a few on the podcast, and I could absolutely recommend a few to you who are wonderful. They're right in the UK.
So would you know a Kat Bailey?
Yes, that's who I was thinking of.
So Kat Bailey was actually my teacher. So I've taken her lessons actually. So after I've had a medium lesson, I was not calming. I was not able to find like a calmness, or where I could say, okay, it's done. No, this is something is going on. I need to find out. And I started reading books, all the books about angels, spiritual world, universe. I went into the physics side, the obviously spiritual side. I bought so many books every night. I was reading, and I was never the person who can meditate. I could not focus. I was like, meditation, oh, boring. I'm not one of those people. Suddenly I am meditating, reading these books. I'm getting inspired by these stories, listening to podcasts, including yours. And I was like, there's something out there, and I can't ignore it. And at that time, then I had the living nanny because the lockdown happened and I started working. So I needed someone to help me with my son. So a living nanny stayed with me, and she's Brazilian, who absolute believer in all those things, not necessarily believer. They just think it's enormous day to day for them. So she was like,
that's not an accident to me that she came into your life, because it's so interesting, because when I went through my journey, I also had a very dear friend living with me who was very open to spirituality. So that gave me support.
Yeah,
that's exactly wonderful. You had her.
Yeah, and she just showed me, then started showing me various videos on near-death experience and life after death and all. And then we had so many signs, because I knew this was Trevor. Once you open up to that belief, you realize they're trying to communicate to you every day. It's just to keep that open mind. And I realized if I even slightly doubt myself or doubt this other physical dimension, non-physical dimension or existence, then I shut that world. And as soon as you just open it up and believing it, like everything is flooding into you. So all these signs, like
give us some of the signs, like what kind of signs does he give you?
Oh God, Irene, like there's so many amazing ones. Like people don't even believe it. They think I'm slightly cuckoo.
That's
but
all right. I don't.
Fine, because I like it. Like you don't have to believe it. You just keep an open mind. So many, but I will pick a few. A really big one is I was having lots of wrist and hand pain. I guess the stress and carrying the baby all the time, it caused me so much pain that it was burning, and I was just thinking of it, nothing else. And I ordered my son from Amazon like a strap to strap him in and walk him like a walker, so he doesn't fall down. I'm holding him. And it arrived. I get a message on my phone whilst I'm at my desk. It says, your parcel has been delivered. So I run to the door to see the parcel, and it's a little box. I open it, and it's a wrist protection. And I'm like, how? I did not order a wrist protection. It goes on your wrist, and it kind of stabilizes your wrist so you don't move it too much and lets it heal. I did not order. So I went on Amazon. I checked everywhere your orders. I did not even spoken out loud if, Alexa or Amazon Echo, all these technologies could hear me. None of it. It was just always in my head. And I did not even plan to order anything like that because I don't think they would help. So then this was actually
That's wonderful. I mean, and Spirit does play with the electronics, and they can do that. And he went online. He placed an order for you.
But you know what he showed me? He showed me there was an Amazon person trying to pack it, and he confused that person to pack the wrist protection instead of the harness for the baby. That's what he's done. But I also already prior to that, I've been taking Kat Bailey mediumship lessons. So I went.
By the way, everyone, I have to say, Kat Bailey is wonderful. You can find her on the podcast. She's done a few events for Grief and Rebirth. Keep going, but I love this, and I love that you saw Kat. That's marvelous.
Yeah, she's wonderful. She basically taught me meditate and to connect, and we done wonderful things. And I realized I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient. She opened up this gate for me even further.
Wonderful.
So then I would see we have photos on TV normally, but you would have to turn them on or specific way. They would just turn on themselves. Just turn on TV. TV has never turned on its own for God knows how many years. It just suddenly turns on. And the night before, I was having like a little prayer saying, because the COVID virus struck, and like obviously we're in lockdown, so we all worried. I was laying in my bed and thinking, please protect all my friends and family. I hope nobody gets ill. I'm really worried, and because it's obviously I'm in total worry all the time now, and it's the last thing we need, this disease coming.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
and so the next morning, me and my living nanny were sitting and watching TV, and I could hear the Big Bang in the corridor. And I come in, and I find that this umbrella fallen, and umbrella was just nicely tucked in the kind of in the corner of the shelf. So you would need, I don't know, a earthquake to move it. It was literally just bang, and I was like, "What's going on?" And my living nanny says, "Google, I think it's a sign for protection." And I'm like, okay. So then the spiritual sign appears to be on Google saying that umbrella is a way of showing protection, shelter, you are safe. And I was like, oh my God. So I was just saying last night, please protect everyone. And the umbrella fallen. I mean, I stopped believing there's a coincidence as such. There's no coincidences, because all these things never happened to me. And now suddenly everything is happening.
And isn't it comforting? It is so comforting.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And so then I obviously taking these lessons with Kat Bailey. We start, obviously I had a reading with her, and I felt a really good vibe about her. And then I realized that she does lessons, and I emailed her and we agreed to that. And her reading was amazing, because she said, she said, she tried to tell my son's name. And she was trying really hard. And she said, you know what I see? Trevor is showing me Pavarotti. I don't know what that means. I'm like, oh my God. Pavarotti's first name is Luciano. She's like, oh. And I was like, she blew me away. I'm like, really? I was like, oh my God. So
Fabulous.
that's like, you actually communicated with my husband. And she described our where we work and how we go to work. And he even tried to lead her to my nickname. He took her to the garden, and she was seeing so many vegetables. Obviously, my nickname is Beans, so he's trying to show beans.
That's wonderful.
Yes, and so then I was astonished. Then I was like, that's it. There's no way I'm not going to believe my late husband is alive. His spirit is here, and he's with us every day. And then I start noticing how my son, he would laugh, looking into space, giggle, and he would be pointing at things or staring at something for a really long time. And then after these lessons, we did obviously connect with Trevor many times. And I connected with cats, loved ones who passed away and their friends. And I described how they died. And she was like, Diana, you can see so well. It was the second lesson. I was already seeing it all.
Wow, it's a blessing.
Yeah, Kat said to me, I can't believe you only on the second lesson, you're doing everything right. So there's so much to tell. And then we had like probably 7 or 8 lessons. And then she let me go, said, I think you're doing well. And then since after I continued my journey, meditating a lot and connecting and receiving signs, which I've received so many, let's say my door alarm broke. And I was getting these signs where somebody is breaking into my house. So I was seeing somebody breaking in my house in my dream and then in my meditation. And I was crying and saying to Trevor, why are you scaring me so much? It's really scary. But that was his way of saying, please put the alarm in, fix it. It's not necessarily it's going to be broken into. It's just a way of saying. So then I started, how do I understand these images, messages? Then I start looking at other books where how do you interpret these signs, because it's really difficult when you don't know what it means, because it means us going across the street, you wouldn't even know that. It doesn't mean, it means maybe color, and then you pick up some other image and something else, and then
they're working right, and they're working hard from the other side. I mean, they don't have a body, and they are manipulating energy, and they're trying to get into your brain to give you a message. They're working hard to get that through to you. So you're cooperating by trying to learn what they're able to tell you means.
Yeah. And obviously that didn't end. So I'm going to finish shortly now. So then there was a period where I was just doing this all on my own, researching, constantly learning. then start actually doing energy medicine, because I realized all the energy around us. So how can I manipulate to make myself feel better? By that point, by the time summer came, it was probably 6 months, I felt extremely inspired. I felt light. I felt grateful, and I continued being grateful. And whilst I was still hurting, but what I was doing is I was seeing that there's more to life than this. That we are just in this physical dimension, and I am here with the reason. And if I let my late husband down by moping around, being sad, crying, and not inspiring my son to grow to a great man, then who am I? So then I just thought, there's no time to waste. I want to live this life and prove to my late husband that, his death, is not the end to anyone's life, to all these friends' life and our life. It's the beginning of new discovery. His death brought something so big in my life that I've never would have done in any possible way unless for his death. So I want to make him proud. I want to make him see that I am doing all these things because of him. So I had a couple of other mediums, because I did want to realize what I was seeing was right. And obviously the next medium I had, she actually laughed at me. She's like, "You don't need me, Dajana. Why are you here?" So this was probably 3 months later then. She's actually in America, and I forgot her name. I'm so bad with names. She's a lovely lady in America. We had a call, on WhatsApp call, and she saw my face and said straight away, "Dajana," she said, "just gonna tell you straight away, you and your husband are not disconnected. You are very much connected." She's like, and then she says, "I'm not really sure if I'm gonna help you much today." And I'm like, "What do you mean? You're going to help me. You are going to help me." And then she did help. She literally just, I probably was 99% sure he's alive in his spirit, but I just needed that, like, icing on a cake.
Right.
And she gave,
and it was a validation you're connected, and she saw who you were, which was fantastic.
Yeah. Me, when I meditate, my meditation is normally involved when some people refer to meditation as switching off their mind. My meditation is really traveling to certain different dimension, meeting my late husband, guide, lots of other beautiful spirits. And every time I would end up in the same place. This place is all green. It's almost like if you ever been to Bali. I've never been, but I've seen from photos. It's green, waterfalls. It's a sea somewhere. You can hear the sea. It's tropical birds and flowers. I would end up always in the same place. And Trevor would always come somewhere on the stones jumping and says, "Hi, Bean." And then he would either take me to the beach, or he would lift me up and we would kind of fly. Or there would be other spirit guides lifting me up and making me feel better, heal my body. There's so many varieties that I've gone through this. But when I asked this medium in America, where I had a call, I said, she said, "What else do you want to ask me?" Because she was saying everything. I was like, yes. And she was very specific, on point, like really specifics, that Trevor items that he owned, and I was blown away already. And then she said, "What else do you want to ask?" And I was like, well, can you ask Trevor to show you a place that me and him always meet? So bearing in mind, that place is only in my head. I've never spoken to anyone. It's not written somewhere on my public profile. It's always just in my head. I've never even told anyone about it. And then she says, just 2 minutes, by just looking a little bit away, she says, "Oh, I can see it's green. I can see a waterfall, lots of flowers, these stones, and then I can see probably Trevor always comes and meets you on these stones." And I'm like,
oh my goodness.
Oh my God. I had this 100% light energy flushed through me. And then, Irene, I see my husband standing right next to me and saying, "I told you to believe. I told you, Beanie. What else do you need to believe?" And I could hear him in my brain whilst I'm talking to her at the same time. And I'm seeing him. He's like shaking his head. "I told you." I was like, and then from then,
wow.
Arian, I could see him anytime. I don't even think of him. He just appears and says something to me, and I can hear him. And I'm like, oh my God, this is unreal. It's just like that's it. That's all I needed. And now I'm going to another levels, trying to heal my body because it's experienced a lot. My body's hurting from all the stress, and I'm
What are you
sharing
doing
my
to heal your body? Are you doing alternative things? Or are you doing traditional things?
Yoga, meditation, energy medicine, sometimes physio. But I start to believe in different things, and you know what? Even my life's purpose is different. My goal was to become a senior banker. To always be working in professional background. I don't want to do any of it. I want to find a peace and calm. I want to inspire people. I want to help. I want to somehow just do these good things to people that I've received from them whilst I was going through this journey. Then I started appreciating things, my friends, my family. Everything just started to be a burst of love. So as if I'm my soul has been enlightened together with this experience, and I should be feeling miserable and horrible. Some people would say, how did I do this? But I think there's just discovery of trying to follow my late husband's guidance, and then together being curious, and together hoping for some sort of openness to believe that we're not all as we see.
That's
and now
right.
I know this is just a meat suit, and then there are some other worlds and dimensions, and then now we can connect to the universe. And now I start looking at the things. How do I train myself so I connect better to higher consciousness, make better decisions, live better life, and or find the meaning of life or a purpose to my life, what I should be doing. And I think my life is not working in the bank. My life is somehow helping people. And I've never was like that. I was never empathetic. I was quite harsh, strong career woman. And now I am feeling a lot. I am feeling emotional, seeing a stranger. Something happened to a stranger, I'm feeling emotional. I could watch on TV things happening and I would be with my straight face, well, such is life. Whereas now I'm feeling it. So here I am.
You are truly a sterling example of someone who has been rebirthed. I mean, you really, even your heart was seated and grew, and you've grown in every way. Do you think you would want to become a healer on your own at some point?
I think what I've noticed, if I push for things or try to do it, it won't happen. And I think what I'm feeling is I'm gonna get to the stage where I'll be somehow helping people. That's my end goal. And where I'm not going to be oriented by money or career. I'm going to be giving the happiness of a person I gave help to will give me more than money or anything else would. So I think that's where I'm getting, and I can feel I'm going to go there. It's just I'm trying to find ways, and I'm worried, about my job. Let's say, what's going to happen if I don't do this job and I do something else? I'm always very careful. I don't take risks as such. So I'm always waiting now for this kind of
for your next step.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for this guidance instead of jumping into. I feel like everything is happening for a reason, slowly, and I'm giving a chance to evolve itself.
That's so absolutely wonderful. And you know how many people you're helping just with this interview today? How many people just like you who have heard the podcast and gotten so much comfort? You know how many people are saying, "Oh my goodness, here's a person just out of the blue living in London, and look at what she experienced and how real this is. And look what she's done with her life." That is so admirable. And you're trying to help so many people.
Exactly. I just want to tell, we all going to die and we all losing people. But we all need to know that we all will meet one day. Our all lives are connected, and the people who passed away not in our lives, they are always in our lives, and they're actually so happy. They're so happy, and if you are happy, they will be even more happier. That's the most important. So if you can't be happy for yourself, be happy for the people who passed away, because they no longer here can do the things with you, but they will be even happier. They're not hurting. They in this divine.
It's right. It's a whole different. They're not hurting. They're actually your best fans, and they're trying to help you. And the one I'm happiest for is your son, because Luciano is going to be brought up with a mom who is able to have real joy instead of being stuck in your pain your whole life. And you'll be able to say to him, you know, I see all these wonderful things about you that were like your dad, and you'll be able to really give him faith in himself. And life will not be a drama. Life will be joy. Life will be good. That I'm so happy for you. And I think this is not the last time we're going to chat with each other. And I am very grateful that you came on today, because Dajana, you are christening this series of Grief and Rebirth. And I could not think of a better person. How lucky we are for you to be the first person
Oh,
to tell us about your experience. It's a blessing for us too. And I'm grateful. Thank you so, so much. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to remind everyone that you can see the Grief and Rebirth show notes and all of our episodes on social at Irene S. Weinberg on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you would like to be a part of this Rebirth series, please send me an email to hello@ireneweinberg.com. You too can inspire people the way Dajana has today. And what a blessing. We are so grateful. Thank you.